Corey, it is the podcast in a different iteration. Of course, audio people will not know, but YouTubers, you know, if you guys want to follow us on YouTube, search Sugar Cookie Marketing and you'll find the playlist, Watch the Baking It Down podcast.
And the reason why it's such a weird look this week is because we're testing the ability to have other creators on here. So the past people we've had on the podcast, as you've seen, have actually flown in or driven in to Northern Virginia. That's quite impossible for most.
Listen, if you want it, you'll make the drive. But yeah, as Heather and Kim found out, that room is very hot.
Very hot.
So I think this will be a good test to see if we could do podcast guests remotely.
Yeah, and if it works, it's great. It's obviously not going to be like the video quality of having, you know, two nice cameras in the room, but it's good enough.
Could we have had two nice cameras in the room?
We couldn't have two nice cameras.
Set up two nice cameras in the room? No, but I have a nice camera, or at least we'll try. Then Corey is being recorded on Zoom. So this is our first run of this. So far, so good.
So far? We don't even know if this is actually recording anything that we're trying. It could be just...
I felt like a little bit like a boomer when I was like, did you click it yet? Can you hear me? Is your camera on? So we're jumping into the Baking It Down podcast, which Corey usually says is an iteration of a Facebook group. We've been really good at letting people in the group if they've answered all the questions. And I see some of you guys say you found us from the podcast. So marketing works.
Nice. And if you didn't know, go join the Sugar Cookie Marketing Facebook group. But the podcast is actually from topics that we see trending in the marketing group. So whether it be what's new, yes, ma'am, you in the front, please.
Thank you. Let me raise my virtual hand on Zoom. Did you see I can send you a heart react?
I do not have a heart react or a hand react in the chat, fam.
I'm going to give you a thumbs up.
Oh, I got a thumbs up from Heather. It's floating up the screen.
Okay, here I have some questions for my YouTubers who smash that like button. What's the sign on your shoulder? That looks very neat.
Oh, I actually did a video about it, but it's this lady who hand custom makes these wooden signs. She paints them. She does them to your logo. They can be super intricate. Obviously, I don't have an intricate logo because I'm a simple person, but this is my logo that she made into it.
As your graphic designer, it looks pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
How much did it cost?
No, they won't talk about it. She has different pricing. So if you get a smaller sign, I think it's $700 to about $900.
Oh my goodness. Is it made of wood?
It's made of full wood.
And she hand painted it?
Yeah, with an airbrush.
Wow.
Us cookers would know what that feels like.
It looks really cool. I mean, she did a great job. It's exactly your logo.
It
and exactly
is. She
the
did
font.
fantastic.
Okay, how many cutters have you printed on that 3D printer?
Exactly 0.
Okay.
That's what we're doing after.
How did you get it set up and didn't use it?
Heather made a video for the Cookie College of her setting it up. This is it right here.
That's a bamboo A1 mini. And you can tell it's not being used because she didn't know where to put the filament, and that's why it's sitting to the left. What's this box on your shoulder?
This is my dehydrator. He is a trusty old dusty man.
Is he from Cabela's?
He is Cabela's 10 tray. My husband threw away a tray, and he says it was on accident. And I said that was actually rude, and you did it on purpose. So he's now a 9 trayer.
How did you file for divorce? I threw away a tray. What's above it? Sprinkles?
There is some sprinkles. These are my containers that I love. I got them from Target. I put each order in one, and that's how I keep them divided. These are little freezing care instructions that I include in orders. These are sprinkles.
Then your heat sealer that I heard you dropped.
But Nathan got him to work again. He is right here.
Oh, Nate, get in the brownie points.
This is my window.
This is your air purifier, which I actually bought one because I like an air purifier.
Yes, that's my air purifier. This room is pretty tiny, so the air purifier is purifying. So there's no dust or anything.
Corey was talking about how much she goes out of her way for dust, which we can talk about in another podcast, but let's jump into today's topic. Everyone on YouTube got to see all that, and everybody in the podcast audio land.
Oh, they're saying, what, a sign, a dehydrator? I didn't even know.
You could have seen it if you guys had smashed that like button. Let's talk about the topic today, getting stuck in the web sites, which is great as we lean into Halloween. So it's a little spooky there, a little scary. So I'll just start here. Last night, Cast Iron sent out an email, or at least they posted it in their Facebook group, that they are actually ceasing operations in the iteration of Cast Iron. And I'm going to read that, and then we can talk about kind of what happened that we know of. I mean, I don't really know very much, but kind of what Cast Iron became, and I'm not sure completely what that looks like. So, dear Cast Iron community, we're reaching out with difficult news. As of today, backstory, Cast Iron is a website host. getting stuck in the web sites. That's the whole thing. So this whole podcast is on website hosts and kind of probably our recommendations on where you should head, should you need to. Anyway, so Cast Iron is closing. So we are reaching out with difficult news. As of today, Cast Iron has ceased operations. This decision was made at the TD Jakes level. And like many of you, we only heard about it ourselves tonight. Because of that, we're no longer employed or able to provide support moving forward. Your storefronts and data are not being deleted, but since the platform will no longer be maintained, we strongly encourage you to begin transitioning to a new platform as soon as possible. We are heartbroken too. Serving food entrepreneurs like you has been the most meaningful part of our work, and it's hard to see things end so abruptly. Thank you for being a part of this journey and for trusting us with a piece of your business. With gratitude, the Cast Iron team. So, I'm not a Cast Iron user, but some members of the Cookie College were.
Yeah.
Is.
I know.
It was. And they had posted that. So they were talking about like what to do if Cast Iron is your host. But I think it brings to light a great conversation regardless. And we will talk about what I think you should do if Cast Iron is and was your host. But I think it brings to light the websites because in marketing, such a big thing.
Well, I want to say, even this year alone, Cast Iron has now gone, but so did Bake Diary also. They had illness in the family and decided just to close down their entire platform. They didn't sell it. They didn't try to get a new ownership of it. They just ended up closing it down. So that's two big ones that people were using. Cast Iron, how we actually came to know them, I want to say, was it 4 or 5 years ago?
It was 5 years ago. I think 5 years ago I got an email, but it's funny. No, actually, Corey was cold emailed, which I never check a cold email. Cold email in terms of marketing is somebody emailing you. They've gotten your email address and you did not give it to them and they're soliciting you for something. And it was actually an SEO-based exchange. So if you guys know, in terms of SEO, a website starts to rank better with better content. Well, getting guest writers to write guest blog posts on your website is a great way to interlink because what Cast Iron was able to do, they reach out to Corey. Could you write us as Sugar Cookie Marketing a blog post on, what was it?
It was something, Mark. It's been so long, to be honest, that I can't. It was Emily, was her name?
Yeah. That was the lady
she was so nice. But that was at the creation of Cast Iron. When it was first starting out, it was a smart move. They were going to different creators in the baking world and asking them to write a blog post, having to deal with something that they knew a lot about. So I know mine was marketing. I just can't remember the topic. But it was helping build their website because they were able to link to like the Sugar Cookie Marketing website and everything like that. That's what opened the door for where we figured out what Cast Iron even was this little.
Now, was that a paid exchange?
No, it was not a paid exchange. It was a.
So, okay.
She was very, very nice, and she said they'd post it on socials.
So if you guys, in terms of ranking blog posts, you can have guest writers, but a lot of times they're compensated. Sometimes it's an exchange of backlinks, which means Cast Iron would have given Sugar Cookie Marketing a link. Maybe that was what it was. Or you can just say, I want to be featured on a website that would possibly send you traffic. Okay, there's many reasons to do it. It's a great SEO thing. A lot of people do it. So that was 5 years ago. Corey writes this thing. Then I think the owner of the company at the time had emailed us a couple times. Listen, I'm so sorry. Cold email may work on Corey. It doesn't work on me as well. I hate it for everybody around me. I just get a lot of emails. So typically I address the ones where people need something and they know me, then the other ones. But the owner was very persistent and said they were interested in sponsoring the podcast, which is how a lot of you guys knew that. Now that was probably 4 years ago.
Right.
All right. Then, I don't know. I guess we kind of went our separate ways.
Well, they sponsored the podcast as they were going for about, I want to say, a year or so that they were there. And they did some Facebook Lives in the group for a while.
And then I think Emily and kind of the people we knew, they left the company and then we kind of dissolved that relationship. So then that was probably 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I noticed last year, maybe a year and a half ago, Cast Iron started making a lot of changes, which actually were pretty neat changes. They were implementing a lot of features. But through about 2.5 years ago, they started really changing the pricing because I think initially it was like free.
It was free and
like
a percentage.
Yes, that was the big thing. And now you'll find that Hot Plate actually uses it. I have a love-hate relationship with that because it is truly a math problem. These companies that take percentage of sales, these web hosts, meaning if you don't make any sales, you don't actually have to pay anything.
Yeah, and a percentage of say if you sold one pre-sale cookie for $8, the percent is rather low. You know,
right?
You're not going to lose a lot.
Yeah, it's truly an economies of scale thing. There's a point at which you sell so much volume that the percentage is actually taking more than if you just used a standard price, a monthly price, flat fee based host.
Yeah.
So those are always gateway drug websites because you're like, I'm just getting started. I want to keep my costs low. Here I have almost an essentially free website host that's allowing me to take orders, look professional. Like we always say, websites will always convert more than not having a website. And the type of website that you have is relative.
Heather has always said, she's always been for these, what would you call these platforms where you can have a website on it, but you don't actually own your domain or whatnot? Like Cast Iron.
They're always freemiums to me. There's always a free thing, but then they're going to charge you a premium if you want all the features. Now, Cast Iron, I felt like in their initial rollout, kind of reversed that to onboard new customers, which is definitely a strategy.
Yeah.
I'll say that if it's ever free, it won't be free for long.
Yeah.
So
me and Heather, there's this website that we've used for 1 gajillion years. Heather got me hooked on it. It's called AppSumo. And what AppSumo does, it's smart. It takes these startups, these people with startup apps, whether this is how we found YStamp. YStamp is the, what do you call that? Signature. The signature that we use on our
email
emails.
signature. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
and
called
she found YStamp. YStamp had a lifetime deal. So if you signed up at the very beginning, you got YStamp for life. And anytime, Heather hates the word lifetime deal because how can you know how long will your life last?
Question. Your life? Is it your lifetime deal or is it the life of the product? And it's always that nobody ever clarifies because they're not sure. So what happens is you give this free product out. A lot of people sign up. You get a lot of users. Then you can turn around to investors and say, hey, would you like to invest? Look at my user base. Again, with the Vendy Blendy chicken or the egg, I get why people do it, right?
Yeah.
You got to have users to be able to get investors. You got to have investors to be able to fund the users. So Cast Iron kind of had that business model. It was percentage of sales, but probably 2 years ago, a lot of tweaking in that price model. I think they had a free plan. That free plan went away, and then there was a premium plan. It had all these features, and then that came to the mid-tier plan. Kind of when I see that, I always think there's a problem. Not all is well in paradise because there's a lot of things going on that maybe a company that's in a growth cycle wouldn't be changing so quickly. Then all of a sudden, it went to like a super great deal. And I think it was only 1% of income. And forgive me, the numbers are wrong. I'm just trying to remember the back.
It was $1 to join the Dwella.
Yes. Dwella. I remember there's a number 1 in there. Then all these really neat features came out with like SMS texting or SMS order reminders, automated marketing emails written by AI and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But usually, typically when you see something like charging less and shoving a lot of features in, it's a creator looking for an exit.
Yeah.
An exit means they want to buy out. They want to sell the company. And it works. So Cast Iron maybe a year ago, and I could be getting wrong. They had launched what I thought was a little different. It was like an Etsy
for bakers.
What am I looking for? Yeah, like an Etsy where people could go to here, find a baker and order a thing. Good Belly is along the same lines of that, but that one's probably a little bit more established. I thought that was pretty interesting, but as soon as that was launched, then it became that the announcement is that they sold because the company they sold to, which I think is referenced here in this email, TD Jakes, wanted that Etsy feature. So
TD Jakes put it under this umbrella called Nourish, was what Cast Iron was fall. TD Jakes is, I want to say he's in, don't quote me, I think he's a pastor, but he just invests in a lot of different realms of things. So TD Jakes being this overall arching gentleman that owns these. And then under TD Jakes, he had this Nourish, which under that Cast Iron was falling of his different investments in life. So that's where that kind of fell in this little trajectory of this company that now owns Cast Iron.
Okay. And then probably pulling out my butt part, I said, oh no, this won't end well for the bakers on this platform because it seemed like they wanted the software not as much as that user base, especially because when they made that sale, they immediately changed the pricing back to kind of what is a higher tiered pricing compared to other website hosts. Okay. And then now we're a year later and they're sunsetting the Cast Iron side of it because I think that I'm not sure about that Nourish side. I'm not sure if that stuff lasts or not. But the Cast Iron, what it was originally, those individual websites they're saying like, you got time, but be moving along.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Here's the thing. A lot of people, and I saw in the comments section, because a lot of people were talking in the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group and the Cookie College, people are like, I have people who have outstanding unpaid invoices. How will I be able to translate the information of that over to where I go? So there's a lot of, and no one has an answer. That's the hard.
No one has an answer. And these two twins, we have zero answers. I know some people paid for the year up front. They were asking, do I get a refund for this? Not a clue. What I would do, let's talk about what we would do if we were cast iron users. And then we're going to go through some topics of things to look for in your next web host that you're going to have to choose here. I would immediately reach out to the clients where the orders are in purgatory, right? So either clients who haven't paid yet and you've baked, or clients who have paid and you have not delivered the product. And I would let them know that I would not let them know the drama here. I guess you could spin this as drama. This is just a way of life as a business owner. Sucks. Hate it when it happens to the softwares I use. I would just say, hey guys, we're migrating to a new platform. I'm going to void out that invoice I already sent you. I'm just going to reissue it through Square. Square right now has a pretty easy way to send an invoice. You can also send invoices through PayPal, something that gets them a new invoice in their inbox. For people that have already paid and you haven't delivered, I would just make sure that we take that email. I'm not sure if Cast Iron has a correspondence within the website, but I would take it to your inbox and say, hey, just want to let you know, we're moving website host. So I'm going to just take this conversation to inbox, make sure I don't miss anything. Just want to remind you here your order details, and here's when I plan to pick you up. So assuming maybe max we're talking about, it's like 12 outstanding orders, unless you like take booking really far out, I'd still do that. That would be my protocol for all. I would get them all into your inbox and into a different invoicing software. Not ideal, right? You might say, well, all my history's in Cast Iron. You could see if you can export that. I'm not too familiar with the platform. But what I would do is get all that stuff, as much data possible, if you like data tracking, and then I would get all those, really focus on these people that are outstanding. If it's you having to deliver, them having to pay, let's get them into another software, even if it's just temporary. Yeah. And let's get that money taken care of.
It also might be a good idea to get a CRM, customer relationship manager, because if all your information about this client is stored within Cast Iron servers, and one day you go to log in and you cannot access that information, we don't want it to be like, well, I don't know where Stacy's email is, and I can't email Stacy. I don't have the details. She's paid, but so using a CRM. And if you're like, oh yeah, there's a lot of money being thrown around here. If your CRM is a Google Doc, that works too. So it's just getting the information from Cast Iron and having it in an external spot.
And then maybe in time, when you have more time to breathe and you got your new website up, you can use that actual program. And yes, and we'll talk about that in a second. There's money associated with programs and software. So I would operate kind of what Corey said there, off the fact that one day you'll log in and you just can't get in. Okay.
So what I did see a little in the comments section is someone said, I knew something was up when sometime during this past year, I went to log in and it was down for a couple of days. So you can see like they've been, sundowning this whole thing, and the support is less and less. So you don't want to say, well, that, maybe Cast Iron will say, we'll give you a month. We love that someone would say, I'll give you a month, unless a month is in writing in a contract. They are not required to give you a month. So never just assume that you could wait to the last minute. Me and Heather are like chronic procrastinators. So
hey, I perform well under pressure.
Yeah, we don't want to do that with this one though.
Right. So I would say if you're listening to this podcast, it's on Tuesday. If let's say you listen to it this week, I would get this done this week. That would be how I'd go. And I'd also do this. It's very simple to use Google Drive, even on a free Gmail. Spooky. Even on a free Gmail account, you can use Google Drive. I'd create Google Sheets, and I would just copy and paste all the text that you have on your current website. That way you don't have to reinvent the wheel when you do find that. You can just paste it right in. So what we're going to get is our images, if you've stored images there. Again, I don't know how Cast Iron works, but I assume you could right-click Save As. It probably will be compressed, so I'd rather the original. I'll get all the text off my website, and then I'll make sure I export all those orders, all the math that I need if I want to track that, all the order information that I need if I want to have a CRM. And then I would definitely start with handling that outstanding invoices or outstanding order details and get those people into an inbox.
Yeah. Then I'll go to Staples. I'll get some labels and on the business cards that I just bought.
And I want to talk about that in a second. What Corey's saying is Cast Iron had its own. Okay, when you go to a domain, so if you want to go to the Sugar Cookie Marketing website, you would type in sugarcookiemarketing.com. I use a host called Podia that allows a custom domain that I set up through Namecheap. Fancy buzzwords to say I'm allowed to change the door to my house.
Yeah.
Cast Iron said, we want to keep things pretty streamlined. We're not, I don't believe they let you change the door to your house, but don't quote me on that.
I don't think they did. I think people had to do a 301 redirect if they wanted that.
Okay. And that is basically, I'm going to change the door down the street, but when you walk through the door, you're going to end up in my house. You're not going to understand how you got there. What happens with that is you get an assigned domain, and it's typically, castiron.com / Corey's Baking Company. That domain will no longer operate once they cease operations, which is unfortunate if you printed it out, but such is life. It happens. If you had been using that redirect, you're just going to redirect it to some other host and you're good. You don't have to change your business cards at all. And that's another tip. Why owning your domain name, which you don't own it, you just rent it, but renting your domain name that you can point in any direction is pretty savvy in case of something like this happening.
Some folks they have said to themselves, I'm not tech savvy. I like these platforms where I don't technically have to build my website. I like to be on someone else's homestead. So what another option for you to do so you don't run into this again is use something like a Shorby link or a link tree. And that will help you if another company goes down, that you're not
basically, and that's going to elongate your funnel, but it's also going to allow you to be able to switch doors pretty easily, very easily, probably the easiest way to switch doors possible. And when I say doors, I mean your domain name. And when I say the house, that's your website.
Heather has a love-hate relationship with things like castiron.com / Corey's Baking Business, because at the end of the day, you do not own that. So you can see not owning it, you're at the mercy of places like Cast Iron or Bake Diary. When they close down, you're like, but what? I wasn't ready to close down. I still liked you.
When it's as simple as renting a domain name for $10 a year, that's why I always say, even if these websites don't let you have a custom domain, you could still do the redirect. It's not my favorite thing, but it still is better than being fully reliant on something you don't own. Yeah. Okay, so before we jump into the what to look for, where you'd go, let's list out some website hosts that we see most commonly talked about. Now, it's funny, website hosts that get popular in a specific niche, like cookies, are often recommended because other bakers recommend it. So you see kind of what's recommended in the sourdough community is actually quite different than what I see recommended. And what I see recommended in the SEO world is a lot different than what I see recommended in the cookie world.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to say what's recommended by other bakers, because you got to understand that it's probably what they like, but it's also just what they were recommended as well.
I want to say the thing when you see someone recommend something, like sometimes because we've been in this space for so long, someone would be like, Corey, what dehydrator do you recommend? Well, Corey's only ever owned this one Cabela dehydrator. So I'm going to be like, I recommend the Cabela hydrator. I don't know another one. And it's because this one hasn't done me dirty yet that I recommend it all the time. So that's why I say, well, I've only ever had a Cabela dehydrator and it's been great. But a lot of times you see bakers just be like, I use cast iron and I love it. But you've never used anything else besides it. So there's hard to judge what else is out there.
Yeah, I agree. So it's called a selection bias. I had to Google it real quick. Basically, you say, hey guys, what's the best website builder? And everyone tells you the one that I use currently because they've all used it. So it's not a huge, okay. But there is some merit to asking bakers what they found, because likely they vetted it for their needs as well. The number one website host I see recommended in the cookie groups is always Square.
Yes.
Bar none. And I think that's honestly because so many people use Square that it's what they recommend. Square has a massive affiliate program. Yes. I know a lot of you have gotten banned for using your little affiliate links because of that, because now you said, because it's what I use and I benefit from it, I'm also going to recommend it. And that's why we don't allow affiliate links in the group, because now you're biased. You are no longer a free agent, you are commissioned to kill.
Yeah. And why so many bakers do recommend Square is Square has been around for the longest. Of all these new ones that you've heard about, Square has been around for a very, very long time. So it's just natural that before, My Custom Bakes or Cast Iron or Bakesy and things like that, Square was one of the older gents in the room that a lot of people used. And that's why a lot of people started using them.
And I do like that. I do see a lot of complaints with Square. I'm not sure if the complaints for downtime are because it just has more users than other hosts, but it does suffer from downtime. People say,
people love Yeah, people love its invoicing. The way that it invoices, it reminds people. You can check if someone's viewed an invoice, how many times they've clicked on the invoice. It gives you a lot of information on the back end.
Which is pretty interesting. In the Baker's Business Basics, I do have a course on you setting up Square invoicing, which is actually different than Square websites. You can send out an invoice through Square, collect money, and never have a website. So that's why I do recommend it for this interim time before you decide what your host is, just to get that money that for those outstanding orders into your inbox. Now, another one I see recommended, and the reason why I think people use it is Wix. Wix has been around for quite a long time. It is one of the first drag and drop builders. And by that, I mean, you can look at it and you can drag and drop various pictures, features, images, very much like the Canva dashboard. You can do that with Wix, which was in terms of having to know coding to make a website. This was the first thing that allowed people who didn't know how to code to create kind of aesthetic websites.
Yeah. So I know that Square has a little bit of a learning curve where people get frustrated because it's not this easy drag and drop. Wix is a nice alternative because it is drag and drop, but then you lose a little bit of the my website's unique because a lot of people are dragging and dropping similar things to you.
Yeah.
And that's a good point when we talk about each of these has a plus and a minus, a pros and a cons. Rarely in life, and you can take this one all the way to the bank, will something fulfill every single need perfectly in the exact way you want it, and everybody else also had that need, and it also fixed it exactly the way I want it. You guys, bakers specifically, run their businesses so uniquely that I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all, and even if it did fit all, it wouldn't fit everybody. It would still be like, well, I take big breaks and I live down a country road. Well, I live in a big city. Well, I live in an apartment. I can't have them come to my house, stuff like that. So you're going to find a give and take and you're going to be frustrated. And that's just par for the course when you get these big website builders. Another one I see recommended is, this is confusing. There's Square. That's what we just talked about. There's also one called Square Up. They're competitors. Squarespace. I'm sorry. What's Square Up? Squarespace.
I was like, Square Up? This is new to me.
Guys, I'm just going to make up some words. Pumpkin designs. So there's one called Squarespace, which I find a competitor to another one called Shopify. Now, Shopify, you actually see advertised a lot. It's always a good sign. It means that they have money. I think it might even be a publicly traded company. I'm not sure, but it is massive. Shopify probably powers, I think they claim that they can power over 33% of the internet.
I want to say Shopify, that's where my website is based on, is big into the e-commerce. That means online commerce, online sales realm.
But you're like, but that's what all websites do. No, actually, there's websites that are blogs. There's websites that are just informational. There's websites that are directories. There's websites with different intentions. But Shopify says, we are here for one reason only, and that is to help you sell products online.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to say this one. You have these website hosts. Then you have these other marketplaces like Etsy. Now with Etsy, and that was kind of what Cassar and I had moved to, or was trying to move to, is you get to hook your shop to Etsy and then you get Etsy's traffic, but you're also kind of a slave to whatever pricing model there is. And Bobby from Bobby's Cutters had mentioned that, I was like, hey, I don't use Etsy. I used it in a past life to just see how it worked. But I know you can opt into these marketplace ads.
Yeah.
But she was like, after a certain amount, you cannot opt out of those. And I think they can go as high as 20% of your income. So but Etsy has a lot of its own traffic.
I want to say, I am an Etsy user. I log on to Etsy all the time to see what's new. But Etsy what it did was it grew into this ginormous conglomerate where homemakers, like people who make crocheted items, wood items, bakers, could come and use their platform. What Etsy does a fantastic job of is advertising Etsy. I see Etsy ads all over the place. So they are it's the chicken or the egg. They bring the users, you bring the products. Etsy has to make something out of it, and theirs is their fees and commission structure.
Yeah, and so you can say, well, I really like Etsy, but I hate the fees. Again, it's back to that give and take. Do I sell more with Etsy? Yes. Do I lose more when I make the sale? Yes. Is that the math problem you want to take the bite out of? So, and then you have, so we've talked about the website host. Another big one never talked about in the baking group is WordPress. And it's one of those ones who said, we're not just going to focus on e-commerce. We're going to be a little bit of everything to everyone. And as such, it can get really, really clunky. And it can also be very vulnerable to attacks. Now, interestingly enough, CookieCon's website has been having a massive attack from it's called something when somebody takes over your website and redirects it. I forget what the terminology is. Trojan horse or something. I don't remember. However, so if you have CookieCon is confusing in that I think they used to be cookiecon.net and then migrated the website to cookiecon.com, but .net was redirecting. One or the other. I'm not sure which one is the correct one. However, one of those domains has been hacked, and people were saying just this week, every time it goes, I don't know, it was on the website, but they said it takes me to a scary place.
Oh no!
Matching with the haunted house of horrors theme that we've got this time. And I think Mark Summers had posted in the CookieCon group, hey, just want to let you know, we're migrating that one. We're migrating to a new server. Like they have to start over to get it out of this. Because once you get those attacks, wow, is it hard to kind of get that cavity removed.
But to say to the positive of WordPress, because you just made every baker said WordPress, it's not for me. It is one of the better websites for ranking when it comes to SEO.
In Google specifically. And the reason why is because WordPress gives you a lot of flexibility. Its bonus is also its minus. It gives you a lot of flexibility so you can do a lot of things with it. But to do a lot of things with it, you have to add on these plugins. And that's where those little backdoor vulnerabilities can creep in.
Yeah. And so you could be like, well, you guys just said you liked WordPress. Why is Corey on Shopify? Shopify is for e-commerce. It really, truly is trying to help you sell more online. Whereas WordPress, these plugins, like a plugin what's an expensive plugin?
Well, their e-commerce plugin is called WooCommerce.
And how much is that typically?
I think it'd be around 30. I think it's that scale one, but you're looking at some of these are $30 to $100.
$30 to $100. A calendar could be a plugin. A calendar with availability.
I could do it one time, $20.
Yeah, so WordPress is great, but these plugins can add up. They can
contact form could be a paid plugin or it can be a free plugin. If it's free, then you're also going to get an unsupported plugin and you're going to have problems. So again, and I know this is so frustrating, a give, a take, a tear, a smile. This is welcome to the web, the world, wild, wild web. So another one, and here's this one, Bake Diary, Corey said had closed. A competitor to Bake Diary is Bakesea.
Mm-hmm.
Bakesea is not necessarily a website as much as it's a landing page with an intake form. And I think you can actually purchase, I like the Bakesea guys. They've been nothing but nice to us. But I think it's just, I get the vibe, 2 college kids plugging away.
In the sourdough world, the big ones that people like is, I think the Simply Bread app is one, Bakesea, and Hot Plate are the 3 big ones over there.
Now, we had the Hot Plate guy. Corey reached out to him. Corey cold emailed him, and he did 2
and
Facebook
I
Lives.
Zoomed him.
Oh, yeah. He's got a really interesting one. There's, you sign up through text message. It's a very heavy SMS-based platform. Does take a massive percentage sales. They do a 5.5% cut, and that's on top of the processing fees. And you might have been like, that sounded so great until you said that. Listen, it's a math problem. If it may not work for somebody working in massive thing, and then there's something to keep in mind is the ones that offer a point of sale. Point of sale, what's that? POS system. It's where you have the little card.
What'd you just call me?
POS. Much like all these website builders. You have this like terminal, and sometimes it's an attachment to your phone. That one never seems to work as well as much as this one. And then people can come to you at a vendor market and tap to pay or insert their card or swipe their credit card. And it will actually report to your website host that sale.
Yeah.
Great way to track
I want to
numbers.
say, when I go to a farmer's market and someone doesn't have a POS system and they just say, scan.
What did you just call me?
You deserve it. And they say, here, scan my Venmo. It takes away from the professionality of it. And I'm like, that feels personal. Like we feel too close as you bred person.
Tell them we're
at the
friends and
farmer.
family, so we don't have to pay a fee. That's what I feel like. It also increases the funnel link to sell someone, hey, click to my link tree. There's my Venmo. Pay me there. Versus, hey, here's my point of sale, and that'll be $3.50. Okay. So we have a lot of things. There's Hot Plate, My Custom Bakes, Bakesea, Wix, WordPress, Shopify, Squarespace, Square. There's just a tremendous, and what we've mentioned there, there's the builder called Figma that works with Webflow. There's just so many options out there. But these are the big players in the space. So you said, wow, girls, you confused me and I hated this. Okay, fine. Yes, because there's so many different people that listen to this podcast. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching. Here, we're just going to go through some things to think about when you're looking for your next website host, whether you're a cast iron user or you say, hey, I don't have a website. I know I want one. What I would think about in terms of your unique, what am I looking for? Give me one.
Offerings.
Yeah, and your personality, because what works for one baker is not going to work for another baker. And Corey doesn't even log into her website. She doesn't even have a login, so I have to do that.
Heather is my web person. I would highly recommend getting a twin and creating and making her your web designer.
But you know what's crazy is I actually have a web person. His name is Vlad. And I'll get him to do custom coding when Corey wants to make changes. So having a resource out there, somebody smarter than you, is by all means how you look much smarter. So Corey will be like, I wanted to do this. And I'll say, let me ask if Vlad can do this. I say, Vlad, can you do this? He said, I can do this. And I say, Corey, we'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Vlad and I are one. So here's what web thinks to be weary of. You see the W's I'm running with this podcast?
A lot of dubs.
A lot of dubs. One, is the host well established? Okay, lobbing myself an easy one here because when you have new hosting provider, actually, which is very interesting, when Baked Diary went down, a lot of people, a lot of developers went in and said, well, we're going to offer a replacement. Okay, they are very new, which means they have the chicken and the egg problem. They need users. I actually have one of them as a past vending blendy, and she emailed me yesterday. Bless her soul for being so patient, Amy, if you're listening. And she's working on a replacement for that as well. So you have, is the host well established? Now there's two benefits. There's benefits and detractors here. Well established, great. That means they're going nowhere. Shopify, I used it in 2011, and I'm using it here again in almost 2026. So it's going nowhere. However, when they're well established, they know their worth. They charge accordingly.
They do. Yeah.
So Corey's website just per month is $30, and that's if she makes 0 sales, and that's with no plugins. And I do have a couple paid plugins running on her site. So you're always like, oh my goodness, that could get up to be $100 or $200 a month. Is it worth it? Ask yourself that. However, it is miserable to constantly have to shift a website every time something goes under. So you can say, am I willing to pay for consistency?
Yeah. A big draw to people up and coming in the space, like when Baked Diary went down, a few of them popped up. It is nothing in the world is free. So while they may say free for the first 200 users, it does come down to now you're 200 users on a server that's costing that person money. Is there enough where they can actually, they're pouring in their own money right now. That's just what startup costs are. You know, you don't want to put all your eggs in the one basket and then be like, oh, we didn't get funded enough. We didn't get enough donations. Not enough people signed up. So we're going to have to close down, or we're moving you from the free platform to a paid only platform.
So my custom bakes is made by a baker. I think a macaron baker. And I've followed their story a bit because I thought it was very interesting. I always find that when a baker comes up with something, they know the struggles of other bakers. So they're kind of speaking on the same level, you know, like, hey, I need them to come to my house, but I don't want them to know my address until it's time to pick. Okay. What interesting was that is they roll out with this completely free platform. And I said, you know, like, that's too good to be true, right? That is neat. And then they had a bunch of users make free accounts, load up a ton of pictures and never log back in. And that's because, you know, and Corey and I say it, sometimes we think the attrition rate of bakers is around 1 to 2 years, which is pretty high. So we'll have a bunch of bakers, they create these Instagram pages, and then you'll see that haven't been posted to in 2 years. And they were doing that same to that platform. And the hosting costs of all these images was tremendous. So what they've said is like, I think they're moving to a paid only plan. Don't quote me on that. I just think is what they said. And then that the free users who have had years of free service are going to say either upgrade or you're going to go find another place. So again, that well-established thing is going to cost you money. And you guys had, you know, Cast Iron had a very competitive free plan or $1 plan or small commission plan. And then it moved to something else. And then we have My Custom Bakes had a free plan, which is very gracious for people to offer that. And then it moves to something. So you can have that kind of, okay, am I wanting to save more money and I'm willing to switch when I have to? Or I hate switching. I hate making websites. I hate all the work. I don't want to switch anymore. I'm willing to pay a little bit more. Point 2.
I want to say if you are drawn by the free part of things, you lose the ability to have a say because your words cost $0. Right. So it's $0.
Yeah. You're a free user. You're just along for that ride. So, you know, you can say, you know, I love that it's free, but then it's always a ride and it's a wild one. Number 2, is the host cost competitive? You know, people always say, why did you put Corey in Shopify? In the Cookie College, they say, why did you put Corey in Shopify, but you won't teach us how to use it? And I said, because I find it to be very expensive. Shopify has been around for a very long time. Just off the bat, it's $30 for nothing, for their free.
But don't worry, Heather did teach you how to use it because a lot of people are like, well, I like the look of Corey's website. And that look of the website is not on a place like Cast Iron or My Custom Bakes. It's on a domain that's built on Shopify that I own, that no one's going to be able to take out from under me unless Shopify says, I'm going to charge you $1 million. Then they can have it.
And then we would be like, you will get a pen and paper and you will write your orders down and hand deliver. So are there a lot of hidden fees, which I find with, kind of WordPress maybe is on the cheaper side, but then you have a lot of vulnerabilities. Shopify has just a ton of different plugins you can do from the Shopify, I think they call it the Shopify App Store or something like that. But again, just it could really cost you some money. And then, or is it too good to be true? There's no hidden fees. Everything's real cheap. Everything's perfect. Is it too good to be true? Because that can only last for so long.
That's an AppSumo type deal where they're trying to get the user base up because they need investors. So while it does feel good, too good to be true, it is, and you can enjoy it for a hot minute.
It's here for a good time, not for a long time. And if you say, okay, I love that it's too good to be true, and I'm willing to pay when that time comes, or I'm willing to risk that they shut down if that time doesn't come, then maybe you are a too good to be true user, and you can go find those things. What I find with Corey's mentioning AppSumo, which is a marketplace for these lifetime deals of these new to market apps, for every lifetime deal I bought and is still around, there's one that I bought that has shut down. I got a massively discounted price. And on the ones that haven't booted me, they've lost money. I mean, I'm using that Wise Stamp email signature. I use an app called FeedHive, and I'm grandfathered in for life. Lifetime of the creator, lifetime of me, or lifetime of the day. We don't know. But I'm willing to exchange that. And then they'll be like, hey, just want to let you know we're shutting down. Okay. Well, it was good while it lasted, and I hardly paid anything for it. Okay, number 3, is the host reaching promised milestones? And this is kind of what I saw with Cast Iron. Of course, I haven't interfaced with them for years. But kind of that, hey, we're doing all this stuff. Here's the roadmap for it. And I understand when you're bootstrapping something.
That's right.
Yeah, you're really subjective to how much money's incoming, how much your developer does, what problems you meet along the way. But if you see a massive list of promises and then none of those are coming to fruition, usually a sign that it's probably not something I'm going to use because I don't like switching
If you
websites
see
as well.
a website platform that comes and they've been maybe around for a year, and you can go scroll back through their social media and they promised you invoicing, newsletter, all that, and you see that none of that has come to fruition. A lot of times these newer companies will use the buzzwords to get people to sign up. Like, stay tuned and we're going to have a SMS involved in there, and you're going to be able to text your customers when you have a pop-up and things like that. That's buzzwords to get people to sign up, because the promise of something is great, but unless it's in a contractual format, it's just words at the end of the day. So you want to make sure that you scroll back through their social media, you see their promises, you ask in groups like Sugar Cookie Marketing, has anyone used this platform? What are your results with it? Have they been able to deliver on XYZ? And kind of see, are they following the path of trajectory? Because empty promises are empty. They're great to say, they look good on paper, but unless they come to fruition, you're just honestly speaking into the air.
I'm going to say, even I find myself, like, we have the best laid plans in my mind. Hey, Corey, let's launch this aspect of the Cookie College. And then we look at it and we're like, nobody would use this. This would actually be a waste of time when there's something we could put our time towards that would be better for the overall group. But there may be 1 or 2 users who be like, oh, I really wanted that though. Okay, and I see that with kind of these website hosts. Here's all the things we'd love to do, but here's the ones that would actually have an impact, and here's the ones that would cost so much to implement, it wouldn't be worth it for anybody. So
one thing I did like about Cast Iron was they had a Facebook group. It was called, I guess, The Kitchen at Cast Iron, and that's where they were able to see, hey, this is an idea we have. How many people would like this implemented in the website? And they were able to kind of see what the market said. Like, a lot of times people were like, I don't think I'd ever use that. So I think they had try to push your favorites. Like, you could do the favorites in your shop, and they're like, nah, I don't really want that. I don't want that on the invoice or whatnot. So it was able for them to kind of talk to their audience and see what people wanted versus what they thought people wanted.
That's what I always say. Like, okay, Eddie, the edible food printer, has a group, and sometimes people use it to lambast the company. And I want to be like, listen, you're lucky that there is even a product support group for this. And if you abuse it, typically they're going to be like, well, we'll just take this to a support ticket. So I'm always going to say, I love it when companies offer that. So you can talk to the creators and say, here's what I wish I could go. But I find that some people use it to use and abuse.
Yes.
Like, what's crazy, and you'll even find it like in baking, in going to a restaurant. You could have gone to the same restaurant 52 times and it was amazing. It was fine. And you never said, hide in our hair. We never saw you online. You never been like, went to Carrabba's and it was good today. But the one time Carrabba's drops the ball, we're going to hear about it everywhere.
Right. You're so consistent for years, but the one time you kind of miss a mark and then everyone's ready to burn down your house. So that was number 3. Number 4, is the web builder interface something you can work with or easily understand? Now, this is a big one. Sometimes I can tell you, here's the 50 reasons why you should go to Shopify or WordPress. And you're like, this is so complex to me. I'm not even going to use it. You can almost see it in the face of people when I'm like, this isn't going to work for you. It works. It's not going to work for how you work, because if there's so much complexity to it or so much customization or so much of a learning curve that people just get that deer in the headlights stare, then I'm like, it doesn't matter if it's the best thing in the world. It's not the best for you.
I like when I see someone tell themselves, they use an adjective, I am not tech savvy. And that is great to know.
Right, because right there, I'm going to tell you right now, probably not Shopify for you, but maybe Bakesy, maybe My Custom Bakes, which have more of like a templated out format, so you don't have to customize it. Now, if you say somebody, one time when I was first getting started in websites, this guy came to me and he was like, here's what I'm thinking with the landing page. I want a drawing of me to jump out on a cloud. And as I scroll, I want me jumping from cloud to cloud to cloud. And then I want us to fall through the cloud. And you think I'm making that up. No, there was cloud jumping involved in this. And I had to say, like, hey, good for you. I can't do that. Nor would I think anybody would want to come to a website where you're jumping through clouds. So what I would say is, if you say, hey, I'm willing to sit with a tech problem for an hour.
Yes.
I could say you probably master most of these. These are all optional. I'm willing to Google my problems. I'm willing to talk to Vlad. But if you say, listen, I don't want to make an Upwork account to find a Vlad. I don't want to Google my problems. I just want to throw something up there and people can go to it. Then maybe you're looking at a Linktree thing. Maybe you're looking at just invoicing. Maybe you're looking at Bakesy or My Custom Bakes has a little bit more flexibility.
Sometimes I say to Heather, I'm 36 years old and I don't want to learn anything new.
Which is why I was like, heck, well, you can get a nice camera. Can we try to film this remotely with nice cameras? And she's like, no, I think they'll be fine with Zoom. I'm like, well, at least she knows her boundaries.
But Heather is the one who is willing to work through her issues, figure out. So a lot of times in the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group, posts that say, how much would you charge for this, will get 52 million comments because it's easy to have an opinion. The posts that say, I am in my Shopify website, it's doing this and I needed to do this, those never get responded to because that is a lot more involved. But if you're willing to sit there and someone's like, I think I've done this, and you're willing to Google it, you're willing to get on support, those would be for you. But you know who you are. You know who you are. The other day, I go to my mom's house and her printer wasn't working. And, I look at my little sister because I hate being treated as the family IT help support desk. And I am. She's like, yeah, I tried everything. So I go up there and then I set it up and I print off, I'm the favorite daughter, and I hand it to my mom as an indicator that your printer's printing. She was like, what is this? I'm your favorite daughter because I printed it on your printer. She's like, how'd you fix it? And I was like, I Googled it. It was the first link when I Googled it. And they're like, wow, you're so great. And I think they just want me to continue offering free help support. Heather wasn't there on Saturday, but I went to Saturday to make the cookie content calendar, but there was no internet access. So I opened my computer and then I showed it. I said, this is for another day.
If the internet goes out, are you the person down by the router holding the reset button, or are you the person saying, well, I guess I'll go to Panera? That would indicate which kind of website builder interface you want. So again, when you go to the marketing group and you say, hey guys, what website builders is everybody using? You're going to get a ton of answers, and I like that. But I would say, hey guys, I'm not really tech savvy. What are the not tech savvy people using? And that way you're going to find more people like you who know that they're like, hey, it's not a battle I want to fight.
If you give a little bit more context, instead of being like, what website platform do you use? Instead of me saying Cabela's, the only one I've ever owned, 10 tray, now try to 9 tray dehydrator. If you say I'm not tech savvy, those who are not tech savvy, what do you use? You're going to have a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to recommend WordPress because it wasn't tech savvy.
Yeah. Or you said it and forget it. Then I would be just different answers. People who are like, I really want it to be customized. I want to be jumping from cloud to cloud. I'd be like, maybe it's WordPress and Vlad. Maybe Vlad has a family that's willing to help you jump through clouds. Number 5, and my last one, does a web interface shorten or lengthen your funnel? So this is a marketing podcast, right? And we always know websites will help you convert more. I can boldly say that because even watch if you wanted to order a jacket. I've been in a spendy, goofy mood lately. I ordered some cotton on sweat zip up hoodies. Imagine that.
Was this another cotton on in addition to the blue one you had?
The one you saw.
Okay.
Please understand, there's 2 blue ones and a gray one. Imagine I say to Corey, and Corey, I was trying to get her to peer pressure buy a cotton on sweater. She didn't want it, so whatever, I bought it for myself. So imagine I say to Corey, the only way to get this is they have to journey to the mall, and it's the only way to get it. They've lengthened their funnel. Now, what I was able to do with cotton on is I actually did both. I went to the mall and I ordered online because I was able to get a coupon online. So they shortened the funnel and they actually made more sales for that reason. So when I say lengthen the funnel, Corey actually took Shopify and elongated the funnel, which means it makes it harder to check out, which means she gets fewer orders. She did that intentionally, specifically because she wanted to really, really vet the orders that she took. Now, if you're like, hey girl, I need every order I can get, you're going to want to always look for ways to shorten that funnel. The fewer the clicks, the more likely the sales. So we've been talking about the Vendy Blendy. I always have some Vendy show up and they have a really complicated discount code. And I tell him, hey, listen, you have elongated I can almost talk every Vendy into using the same discount code. You're the only one who hasn't. What's going to happen is everyone's going to type in that wrong discount code because there's 71 other vendors that are using that discount code. You will lose sales because they now have to go back to the spreadsheet, reference your listing, which is very hard to find that code, and then go implement it. They have elongated their funnel. There are reasons to do that. Corey's one of them.
Let me talk about mine. Okay, so I have a website, but I also use Jotform. And you're like, why do you have 2? Here's the reason. A lot of bakers, when they're first starting off and, money is tight because they don't have orders coming in, they use something that like Google Forms. Google Forms is free if you have a Gmail account. Google Forms is great. It takes the information that I would have on a website. It takes it. The problem with Google Forms is that it's not professional looking. So it doesn't add a sense of confidence when I'm ordering. It just looks like a sheet of paper, and you fill out the sheet of paper by typing it, and it says, okay, it was submitted, and then you're like, okay, I don't know what to do with my hands now. It is great for someone starting out. It's not great on the professional realm. So I said, I really love my Jotform. Jotform's a step up from Google Forms because you can accept payment on Jotform. But I love that I could say, listen, here, I am located in Woodbridge. Do not think that I'm not located in Woodbridge because I am located.
It says it about 50 times that Corey and Woodbridge are in each other.
But my website is professional looking. The Jotform is elongating my funnel, but it's getting me all the information. If I can have a customer come to my website and fill out my Jotform, I can turn that into a sale probably 98% of the time.
So Corey is using her elongated funnel to weed out tire kickers and orders she wouldn't want to take. Corey does not want to be a last minute baker. However, if you are a last minute baker, you'd want to keep that funnel as short as possible, which means they don't have to end up in your Facebook inbox and then you try to take the order there and then you send them an invoice.
Yeah.
And you always got to think, do I want a longer funnel? Corey had mentioned a link tree. She's added an extra click. So when you think of funnel, think clicks. How many clicks to checkout are there? If you wonder, the shortest funnel, and I think it was patented for a while, is Amazon's single click to order. If you ever realize, if you think about it, every time you go to a website, there's add to cart and then there's a second button for checkout.
Yeah.
Amazon has click to order, which removes the second
It's
button.
called buy now.
Buy now, dangerous. I actually don't do that. I need to look at my cart. I need to get acquainted with the commitment I'm about to make here. I need to talk to my credit card and be like, are we okay with this? Are you okay with this? Are you going to be okay?
The thing with something like Linktree, and me and Heather from a lifetime deal figured out Shorby.
I love me an LTD.
Yeah, but what Linktree and Shorby do is, while I would never have like castiron.com/Corey's baking business, that Linktree is similar, but in the fact that Linktree's a big established company. And within Linktree, you'll never guess, links, trees of links. The problem is, do I want a customer to have to weed through my Amazon favorites? Technically, probably not, because they're not bakers, so they don't want your Amazon favorites. But you lose them in the aspect when they have to go to your bio. They click your link tree. You have both your Facebook link in there and your, link tree link. So they have to choose which one. Link tree. Now they say, do I want my Amazon favorites? Do I want their affiliate code to Square? Do I want this? Here's the link to order cookies. You've caused a lot of homework for your end user, which results in people falling out of your funnel, people who order.
Yeah, they say this is too much. This was too many clicks. I have actually intervened with my spending self, and we will be saving heretofore.
And that's why Amazon saves that customer, that buyer's remorse. They don't have time to it because they're clicking buy right now. So when you click buy right now, it's instantaneous and the customer can't have a moment to second guess themselves.
I find that if I place an order that I felt like maybe I shouldn't have, had there been just a second longer, would I have changed my mind?
Yeah.
But when I place the order, I'm like, well, and then I start with the list of reasons why I should keep the order. Well, I mean, you need 3 hoodies even when you have 50 hoodies because you just don't know when that 51st hoodie is going to be needed. Kind of that convincing ourselves. So the shorter the funnel, the more impulsive people can be impulsive and the more likely they are to spend money. You may be like, Heather, but that you shouldn't help people take their money. Then don't be in marketing and sales. Don't run a business because at the end of the day, it's an exchange of commerce. Is your product valuable enough to me? Is it easy enough for me to get that is worth my blood, sweat, and tears that I've converted into money for it?
Here's an example of a big commission sale that went awry. It was the more you put your end user through where they have to click, the more options they have to fall out of your funnel and find someone else. My older sister is going to sell her house. So she actually reached out to 2 real estate agents. One texted back immediately. The other one got back in just 1 hour. 1 hour is nothing. I could have been on lunch.
Were these on weekends or was these on weekdays?
I think it was on a Friday. Yeah. So it was 1 hour. That girl could have been at lunch. She could have been driving. The person who texted back immediately, they ended up letting them come and see the house to put in an offer or whatever real estate agent people do when they assess the value of the house. But it's saying like the longer your funnel is, the faster someone else is. If someone has a shorter funnel, it's going to be easier for those people to check out with that person. So you could lose a sale just for that. I had one lady that requested, and she did request a last minute order. And I got back to her in the morning. Then I stuck true to my business hours and I got back to her the next morning. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I confirmed with someone last night.
And you may say to yourself, well, I'm better, faster, stronger, better baker. My icing bleeds less. My cookies taste better. At the end of the day, if you think of terms of yourself, if you had to hire a roofing company, are you going to climb on your neighbor's roof and see how their quality is before you make the decision? No, it really comes down to that website looks pretty good. They got back to me really quickly. They have decent reviews. I'm going to just take a leap.
Yeah. It's very fast. You think me and Heather are very fast buyers. I have an idea.
I don't want to intervene.
I think I want that now.
Why now? Why later? When now?
But you could think like, well, I'll get back to these people in a few days. Or, my website, I'm having them DM to order via Facebook, and then I'm going to get back to them via email. From that Facebook, I'm going to ask them what their email address is. That longer funnelness that you're doing is going to cost you sales. I say that from someone who has costed myself sales.
And, if you guys listen to the past podcasts, I'm taking breaks or slowing down orders, throttling orders. The way we recommend to throttle orders rather than make that big announcement that you're closing is to elongate the funnel so that it's just harder for people to place orders. You're still there. You're still active. You still get some money, but you're able to thwart a lot of those sales intentionally. And then when you need a throttle back up, then you shorten that funnel and you'll get more orders.
Yeah, that is how you do it. Whatever you choose, though, it's going to be something that you like. So there is no wrong answer. If you don't use Shopify, I'm not going to think less of you. I'm not going to be like, well, you're not as good as me. No, you've gotten something that works for you. That's why when you go into the groups and you ask, what are you using? Just know that whatever they use, it works for them. It might not be the best fit for you.
In fact, in the Baker's Business Basics courses, I actually say, let's set this up using a Google form. It's not as customizable. And then we send the invoice through Square Invoices. So that's great if you're getting started, especially when you're like, every dollar counts. I don't have a ton of time. I can't take a ton of orders. I don't want to spend a ton of money on a website host. Yeah. What is my entry level options here? And that's one I actually would recommend. If you're just, I'm friends and family and one other person, I would say, let's try there. Yes, there's a better answer. Yes, more professional. Yeah. Yes, more money. But at the end of the day, it's just where you're at in your business. That is the correct answer.
If you love to think that I'm in an oversaturated area, which bakers love to say I'm in an oversaturated area, the few things, since we're all buying from the same cutter shops and only Labubus are trending now, the things that can set you apart is a more professional website that gives the customer ease of use, which is through the design that makes them feel confident in the buying process.
You listen to the Diamond podcast we did a couple weeks ago. there in our favorite mall with the Seasons 52, which is funny, you use the number 52, and I was wondering if you had Seasons 52 in the brain.
I might.
When I get back, think about it. When in that podcast, we talk about how is there like 8 luxury jewelry diamond stores, and then they're all able to operate within the same mall's walls. And that's because they're able to say, I'm going to have a really great website experience like Blue Nile. So you can use that as a differentiator to be more competitive in a saturated market. I always tell people when you say the word, it's saturated, so I'm going to quit. You just haven't sought out how to carve your unique spot to get that slice of the pie.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to be successful. You don't have to be the only one to be successful.
You wouldn't want to be the only one because that means the industry is not successful.
That's what I always say with the gas station comparison. When you go in a small town and there's no gas station, someone's like, I got a great idea. I'm going to open a gas station. I'll be the only one. They have to come to me. Likely there's no gas station because the free hand of the market, the invisible hand, didn't direct somebody to do there because it was unprofitable at one time, right? So where there's competition, there is money. That is something to keep in mind. So good luck for the people migrating from cast iron. Don't be overwhelmed. It just happens. Just follow that kind of strategic process. I would say that one day you'll log in and nothing will be there. So definitely operate off of that. The longer you put this off, the more you're going to be frantic. So I like to front load my efforts so I can backload my anxiety and Botox appointment.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the Cookie College. You know, it's so funny. We actually had 2 Cookie College members give us a Cookie Class kit. They made them themselves. They're allowed to do that. We've had probably 5 or 6 people make a class and offer it to other members at no additional cost.
One was a Wix class.
Yes. One was a Wix class. And the class is a Cookie Class kit for apple picking season and another one for Taylor Swift's October 3rd, 5th. A Swiftie is screaming at me right now.
Her Showgirl one.
And it drops on one of those 2 days.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or the 5th. Swifties, correct us.
It's very close to the date of each other.
It's very, very close to those days. I think our older sister are big Swifties, and they're going to listening parties. Corey and I will go to a Season 52 party and listen to the hum of the mall. Because it's now the time to be going to the mall and getting into the fall season. My favorite gift at Christmas is people watching at the mall.
People watching with the twinkle of lights.
And they have their shopping bags and they're all in good. We live in Northern Virginia.
They're rushing around.
They're getting little discounts and their deals and they got their little 3-wood candles. We live in a highly populated area and it's just a lot of people and a lot of traffic and people get kind of rude. Can you blame them? We're all sitting in hours long worth of traffic, but I swear the whole area gets a little bit nicer.
It gets a little nicer. It does. And there's so many people. The places me and Heather like to eat, Seasons 52 has this, it's open to the mall. So it's not a closed restaurant. You can sit at these tables and stare outside. And then right across is Coastal Flats, which also has a stare outside place. So we just stare outside from both.
I want to let you know the waitstaff knows her name in both locations because I like to see it. So the Cookie College, we're actually working, and I know we mentioned this in a few podcasts ago, but just like the podcast topic today, we'd said something, went back to the drawing board, said, let's do this a little bit differently. It'll be better for everyone involved. So my correct statement is we were going to give away a free birthday class to anybody listening to this, a class kit. So you can see how the class kits work. Well, we ended up making that a Cookie Class kit. So it was actually paid. And Corey came up with this adorable design that gives you more opportunity to market to more people if you want to think about cookie classes for fruit. And it's so cute.
It would be great for a summertime class. It's great. It's free. So we just talked about freeloaders. If you wanted to see what was in the class kits, this is the class for you. You're going to experience it all. The one thing you don't get and that no one gets is we do partner with Sweet Pink Olive and she makes the cutters. You can buy STLs or you can buy the cutter files from her. But everything else, you get the decorating videos, you get the marketing materials, you get the PowerPoint, you get the piping practice sheet. That is all included in the class kits, but it's also still included in this free class.
So this will be a word for word. I may add some how-to videos just so you understand how it all works. So I don't record a video in every class kit we drop. We just dropped the cutest one. I had my doubts with this one. It was a Halloween one. Corey was working on it. And I was like, I don't know. I hope it turns out cute. But I always do the post. I always produce the class. So I'm looking, I was like, oh, shoot, this is stinking cute. And it dropped. I actually dropped it a little bit early because I had to go out of town. But it is available for purchase in either the Cookie Class Kits membership or the Cookie College. The bonus, the benefit to signing up for the Cookie College is you get 3 Halloween classes to choose from because every year we archive the class kits and put them only in that membership. So I think last year was a skeleton class and the year before was, somebody said that this was classic Halloween this year. And then 2-3 years ago was cute Halloween.
I agree. That was the bat,
Listen, I've never forgotten about the bat. There's a new bat and he's very cute. The crazy bat.
I love the crazy bat, though. I love the crazy bat.
The crazy bat. So yeah, that was very cute. So I'll be working the fruits class and I'll be adding those additional classes. We're moving into class printing money season. If you've been in the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group, Corey and I have been posting daily class teaching tips, tricks, things that we do, things that we try that we didn't like, things that we should do and we don't. So if you guys can look, what was that hashtag again?
September Cookie Classes Month. September Cookie Classes Month.
Yeah, we thought it'd be fun to take the group each month through a different topic. And
Heather, seeing as she was doing this push, I knew the time to strike was hot. So I signed us up. This was crazy. A lady reached out and she wanted an in-home class. Me and Heather have only done a handful of those, mostly 2 children, but this lady wanted her and her friends to do an in-home class right down the road. So I said, Heather, if you truly want to see how in-person classes are, so we are. And that's on the docket for November 6th.
Yeah, it's an in-person private class at someone's house, which I don't like doing. But Corey said, we got to do it for content so we can tell people how it's done. Just
because that is an avenue. If you can't find a venue that fits your price range, they either are charging too much. A great way to get around that is create these in-person classes. And it's almost like MLMers who throw parties, who host parties. This is a great way where people can get their friends and families in one location. So it takes the marketing off your shoulders because you're not trying to get people to sign up to go into someone's home. So this lady, I said, hey, if you can get 10 people to sign up, I'll teach the class in your house. And she said, I have 10 people. Let's do this.
How did she want to do it? We were talking about creating a private Eventbrite link, which you can create a private event in Eventbrite and give that link to specific people and still set all the restrictions and offer the add-ons. Or Corey was just going to invoice her a flat fee through an invoicing software like QuickBooks. Which one did she pick?
She ended up choosing, she wants her friends to be able to pay, which actually benefits me and Heather because they can purchase an add-on kit that way instead of just invoicing them and her paying it and her collecting from her friends. Creating the Eventbrite, which they will have to do. We do pay a fee for that. Each person that signs up, it does give them the ability to sign up for a take-home kit if they want to. And I'll be so curious if they do. So,
and that is good for her because if a friend doesn't pay, she's not out the money, which I'm with you there, girly. Yeah. But it's also good for us because we create 10, assuming she's having 10 friends.
She said she had 10. So we're in uncharted territory. When we create this Eventbrite link, she has told me 10 friends will sign up. Will 10 friends end up clicking and signing up for the Eventbrite link? Or will she say, well, I only had 5 friends that ended up being able to do it? Then we're going into uncharted territory where I'll be like, that's not enough for us to want to come out there.
Corey and I agreed because of my bad attitude, we'd have an 8 minimum. So she got 2 people to cancel, we still do it. That's what we said. So
I told her 10, and I said if 2 people didn't show, because who knows what will happen.
And then here's my question. The cookie class kits, we're still talking about the cookie college. We've been offering those class kits since 2023. So that's 3 years. I think we have 10 this year. So 24, we almost have 34 classes, 33 classes. And then you're going to get the fruits class and this, Corey's working on Thanksgiving class. I create these grids, these graphics that have all these classes, your one-stage photos, so that because people, bakers will say, hey, which class do you want to pick? Is she picking the class that she wants you to teach?
I sent the grid to her and I said, here's another prerequisite if we come to your house is you have to choose from one of my pre-done classes. I sent her that grid. She's chosen one. I'm not sure which one it is. I said I would follow up in an email, but she's chosen one from the grid.
I can't wait to figure out which one she chose. I hope it is an easy one.
They all are. I hope it's a holiday one just because it'll be festive.
It's November, so it'll be interesting. And then we'll do a podcast on that. I'm sure something will go left instead of right, so we'll have some more stories. Hopefully it's not leaving the icing, but we'll have to see. Okay, if you guys
she's in Fairfax.
Okay.
Right down the road
from the icing. If you guys want to learn more about the Cookie College, you can check it out at thecookiecollege.com. Fun stuff. I just dropped the digital downloads kit. If you listened a couple podcasts ago, we changed the digital downloads to B, something we find that the audience would like more. And it's these kits where you get cookie care, or you get a cookie card, a cookie backer, a cookie tag, a pattern, a transfer sheet, an STL, and they all match to make this cute little thing. So this one is Thanks for All You Boo, and it's got a pumpkin theme. And Corey took some professional photos, really well-staged photos of that kit, and I'll post them here soon. But that is included in the Cookie College membership. It's the first time we're allowing those to be purchased individually for $10. Or, much better deal, just sign up for the digital downloads for the same $10 and get everything within that membership.
Yeah, because Heather did one before, this inclusive kit, and it's a fall theme. So both have not happened. So if you signed up, you get both. Those would be good for fall and Halloween.
Yeah, just a little kit that gives you a bunch of options. Now I have those. I have a post scheduled to go up on the Facebook, the Sugar Cookie Marketing Facebook page, and you can see what that kind of looks like. And I'll tease you with the photos Corey did of the Thank Boo class, the Thank Boo kit, because it was very cute. Okay, moving on to the STL Me About It. This is Cookie Design Lab's sponsored segment. Thank you so much. And you can use code TWINS to get 15% off. They have a 5-day trial, which I really do like. If you're like, hey, listen, I'm here for a good time, not for a long time. I just need one custom cutter. And they've added a ton of features. I was using it. It's actually the cutter builder that I use for the digital downloads kit.
Oh, nice.
So I am able to create the graphics in Illustrator and just drop that PNG image into Cookie Design Lab, click a button, and it automatically traces out that design. And I can make some tweaks. I can round out the handle. I can change the sizing. I can flip the cutter. I can add text to wall, which is always my hated thing to do in Fusion. When I try to do it in Fusion 360, it creates this really, really long line of words that are very far from the cutter. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Is it this long?
Yeah. Basically. What is
One
that?
thing I like about you not being here is I can play with it all.
Who knew that Corey had a bunch of props for the podcast today? You can see whatever that was if you listen to the YouTube channel.
Oh.
Audioland said, what is that? I'm so curioso. Okay.
The sound, it was crazy.
I'll be so curious if this podcast turns out, because we've got now 2 separate audio. I've got a Zoom camera view and I've got a professional camera view, and then we'll edit it. It'll be interesting. But we have some texting questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
3.
1, 2, 3. Okay, this person, you have won a month of Cookie Design Lab. Your phone number starts with 289. What do you think that is?
289. 289 sounds like West Virginia.
It is Southern Ontario, Canada. Sometimes I forget that other countries have phone numbers. You just don't think about it. I didn't realize. I thought area codes, and call me ignorant, Canada, were a United States thing because we had so many areas.
But they have a lot of, what do you call them? What do they call their sections? Territories.
Providences,
They have territories. Providences and territories.
Okay, here's a text. Loving the podcast this week about cookie classes. I got to just expand this. I have a little extra screen for my laptop. You would like this. Loving the podcast this week about cookie classes. I just wanted to let you know around the 39-minute mark, there was a constant tapping sound in the background of your podcast, like a finger tapping on the table. And who do we think that could be? I did hear that, and I'm sorry. I actually run.
Was that me?
Yes. It's your leg.
What was I doing?
Your leg was shaking.
Oh, my leg.
And it was hitting the podcast cable, and it was knocking against the table. I use Adobe Audition to produce the podcast, right? There's a button where I can tell it to try to find like phantom noise, like fans or background humming, and remove it. It can only do so much when Corey taps. Hey, listen, you have a little anxiety, you can let it out to that leg, girl. The whole Miracle family twitches their legs like that. Maybe not my dad. So whatever that therapy session is that we need. But anyways, thanks for the feedback. And for everybody else, if you want to hear what that is, it's a 39-minute mark. It is annoying, but it only lasts for about a minute.
Thank you. And sorry about that. Sometimes I am a pletcher. I do like something in my hand. I like to pletch with things. And if something's not in my hand, my leg will shake. And since Heather took everything out of my hands, my leg was the last thing.
I cannot, because, okay, I'll give you a soft thing to fidget with.
I just needed to have some, either a rounded edge, a clickle thing.
But just for some reason, you find a way to make it make noise.
I
dragging it across the table, dropping it, throwing it across the room, whatever it is. So anyways, thank you so much, 289. And I'm glad that you like the talk about the classes. I thought it's been fun to write about it in the group.
I have to.
Another one. Now, not a winner, but first in our hearts, 510 area code. What do you think that is?
510. That is Norfolk.
Oakland, California.
Oh, it's exactly the farthest one away.
That's far. Oh, I'm so sorry. The first part of it. 510 equals California. That's the first part of the text. Oh, you guys are so funny. Hi, twins. I'm trying to find different avenues to market myself because sales are slow. And I want to do pre-sales for the holidays this year. What are the benefits of creating a Facebook group specifically for this? And how should it be managed and run? Any help is appreciated. Great question. What she's saying is you can make a Facebook page. Okay, great. You can make an Instagram page. Okay, great. But you can also create other things within these platforms that hit different algorithms. Now, if you saw the Get Ready With Me I talked about last week that I did, it hits the live feed. Now, what she's asking is within Facebook, you can create private groups. Now, Corey and I have tried this with our sugar cookie classes, meaning if you come to a cookie class, I'm going to send you an email. I'm going to have you join this Facebook group. It's another thing to manage. Con number one, because you are already posting content to your Facebook page, so that natural inclination to cross post, the lazy cross posting is right there. And trust me, I only can preach about it because I've done it myself. Call me to that altar. I'm a cross-posting sinner. However, groups are conversational and pages are more of like broadcasts. So she wants to start a group. You're going to want to make that really conversational. Now, here's my hybrid solution to this. I do find it hard to run a Facebook group and keep its energy going, especially when you get started, especially when the only reason why somebody would join is to be sold to.
Yeah.
I would find a community group and treat it, kind of cultivate it. We talked about that in a couple podcasts. Cultivate that community group to become a sales leader. So that way somebody else is doing the hard work of managing it and you can just kind of swoop in there and make your sales.
The thing with pre-sales is an audience needs to be primed for pre-sales. So my audience, and I've said this millions of times, is primed for customs because that's what I enjoy making. I like to know what's on the docket for next week. Pre-sales are people who don't want they don't want a dozen. They're willing to just get one of something. So those two people are different people oftentimes. People who plan for parties like to plan ahead. People who like pre-sales are planning a lot closer to whatever the event is. If you wanted to form a group now, it's hard to get a group going. Let me tell you, your page is already established though. So if your page even has 400 to 500 followers, that's 400 to 500 followers that aren't in the group. So I would say, since we're coming into the season that you want to do it, instead of creating a whole nother group that you have to now create unique content for and get them engaged, very tough to do. Let me tell you, very, very tough. I would do this marketing strategy. If you've built your house on custom orders, I would say do some giveaways. I have 5 skeleton cookies. Like I made those leaf cookies for Heather's digital downloads last week. Those are 5 leaf cookies that I can in turn be like, I have 5 taste
what she was looking for is very, very cute. Very, very cute.
They're very, very cute. And the tag makes them super cute. What I can do is use these kind of giveaways to prime my audience for these kind of smaller buy-ins. So instead of being like always posting my custom orders, posting just this leaf cookie with a cute tag and be like, I've made these for content, but I'm looking to give them away. It can kind of put into your audience, oh, look, she sells these one-off things. She has these one-off things that she offers. And you can kind of get your audience warmed up for a Halloween drop. Great for that. Fall, Thanksgiving for teachers, huge, and then Christmas, just another huge one. And it's getting your audience prime for that versus starting a whole new initiative. Lot harder to do, especially when we get busy. Let me tell you, the first thing that falls off is
those Facebook groups, because the Facebook groups are so much more involved than the pages.
Yeah, me and Heather have that local community group. The amount of memes and the amount of posts that I'm trying to get people involved in, they won't make those posts on their own. So like I post, what was an expensive luxury item you would buy again? That has no value to anybody, but it gets people engaged and it puts my group post back into their feed when they do engage. But that's a lot of work to do.
I say it's a lot of work, and Corey drags me. I don't even live in the area, but I have to make half the post you're talking about. If you were to make one of the other group, I would create a community group, because by the nature of how community groups work, people will post other content that attracts more people. Then use that one to make sales. And again, it's a massive strategy. It's not for the faint of heart. If you're already saying like, I don't know, just a little something, maybe a Facebook ad, or using somebody else's community group, or creating that newsletter and talking about it there. Obviously, you can say with much PTSD, we have warned you. In a perfect world, a private Facebook group is great, and you'd pour all the time and effort into it, and you'd see great results. I just think a lot of us are limited by time, especially in that holiday season.
And you'll see, and me and Heather are guilty of this, if a class sells out, so we have this cookie classes group for people who've taken my class. When the classes sell out, I'm not drawn to post in that group because my class sold out. So the group did what it was supposed to do. The classes sold out, but now the group is dying off because, one, there's nothing for them to
Yeah, because I
join.
can't tell them to sign up. We're right. It's weird.
So you'll see as your pre-sales big in December, you probably don't have a pre-sale in January. You're going to see that your posts fall off because once you sell out of your December pre-sale or your November pre-sale, you don't have any more content because you're like, well, I'm not offering anything anymore. I'm sold out. And then you'll see that you'd start falling out of feeds because you don't have any content to produce to get them still interested.
Question for you. If you could go back in time, would you have created the Sugar Cookie Classes group?
I would have created it a long time ago when we were doing 3 classes a day and really it's a numbers game, right?
For every 10 people we teach, 2 people join the group. Although we had 5 people join it from the last class. Did you see I've scheduled out a post a week that is informational about some picture I have of yours, and I'm explaining, here's the gel we've got on, here's how we use it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I can't post my custom orders in there. Those people are there to learn. So they need to have content for learning. So my content isn't even shareable to the both of them.
So Corey will create content for like you guys and like, here's a cellophane bag I use. And then she'll post it to those guys with a different voiceover. So I'm like, did I see this? No, I didn't. Oh, wait, I did. Last one I'm going to read. Kaylee, she had messaged in last week and the week before, and she said, here's my attempt to win again. Kaylee, listen, keep going, girl. Keep going. You're so close. Maybe bribe Corey with a number. Maybe subliminally send her a number. Again, luck of the draw. Not a winner, but I do think her texts are pretty funny. She says, here's my attempt to win again. A new set of questions for both of you. Okay, number 1. If the pets in your lives could talk, which one would be the rudest? That little snake that I have. It hates everybody, and it hates me a lot, and it kind of hates Corey when she walks into the room. It is a snake that burrows, so it buries itself, but it is so nosy. They said a happy
He wants
hognose.
to stare at me. He wants to look at me.
If you walk in that room, that dude's like, they said a happy hognose is one that is stalking you because they just like to look. And that dude, I bought that hognose snake because they were supposed to play dead when they thought they were being threatened. This dude would rather die than play dead. He snorts. They don't know how to hiss. They have a weird face. They have almost like a pig nose. And in terms of snakes, I know they're not cute, but this has got to be the cutest one.
He's very cute. He looks like a worm with a nice face.
He looks like a worm, but because they're so weirdly formed, they're a desert snake, they don't know how to hiss, so they snort. That's why they call them puff adders, because they try to look like other snakes because they don't have a lot of protection mechanism.
I'm sure that's why they got the name hognose.
Yeah, that's because of the beak, yeah. And it's funny because he'll snort when people walk into the room, but it scares him every time because he doesn't really know what he's doing. He's just snorting constantly. He's just kind of like, oh, you're awake. Sometimes I'll know my cat is on top of his cage when I hear the snorting. So I was like, oh, come on, cat, get out of there. Now, of your 2 pets, of which you have Ray and Rube, who would be rude?
Rude would be the rudest would be the rudest.
Rube, no. Corey, I call Rube Corey's divorce kitty because she got him when she was going through divorce, and that was forever ago.
It was forever ago. Rube is turning 15 this year. So she's not rude by any stretch. She's just stuck in her ways. Same girl, same.
I pulled up to pick up Corey's kid or something. I remember what I was coming over for. And Rube was like looking at me through a bush. What are you doing? Get inside.
Rube she's a very good cat. She has been with me through thick and thin. She's seen the best and the worst of me. So I gotta say, even if she's not a cuddly soul, she'll walk around though.
Yeah, she will walk around. That cat will move.
My son loves her and loves the fact that he could maybe make her love him, and she won't.
Wait, listen, with every pet, we have that little hope. We just hope. Please love me. Please. I'll give you every treat. I'm a briber. Hey, you know what? If I see your pet, I'm going to give it a treat. I don't care if you don't want it to have a treat. I'll sneak one. I'll find a way to get a treat to that pet.
That's why Rube and Ray like me. I'm the pet giver. I use my thumbs to get cheese and cat treats. That's all I do.
You said you're the pet giver, but I think you mean the treat giver. But I also see you
I'm the pet giver to the treats. If you want a treat, I'll give you a pet.
Number 2, would you rather always have to hop on one foot or always have to skip everywhere you go? Skip.
Skip.
Bar none.
Skip.
You should have seen me in middle school. We're skipping.
I can skip fast, man.
Once you get the hang of it, you can get anywhere. They were running towards me. No, they were skipping towards me. I feel like you just cover more ground and you look like you're having a really good time.
And you'll have amazing calves when you're done.
Corey's going to be like, she was reported running away from the cops. I mean, she was reported skipping away from the cops at an unprecedented speed. Never seen by the human race.
Her husband.
And number 3, what's the weirdest thing you've ever put on a sandwich?
Heather thought my bologna and cheese was weird.
And that shows you how boring I am. That bologna is pushing the limit. So that's all I got. I love to eat. I went to a new restaurant that opened that was a Korean fried chicken sandwich, and I usually don't get that. I just said to the waitress, I love doing this. I said, what would you get if you're here? And then she was like, you got to get this. I was like, that's pretty good. But that's really boring, that the fact that my most crazy sandwich is a chicken one.
It is.
Number 4, if you were a kitchen appliance, which one would you be and why? Corey would be the freezer section of a fridge because she's so cold. Just kidding. She'd be a mixer. I think I'd be a dishwasher because I like to clean stuff.
Heather would be a microwave because she's so loud.
Radio frequency. That's an interesting question. Everyone in podcast land, what?
No, I'm going to tell you, every baker's going to be like, I'd be a mixer.
But you're not, because you can't say what you use the most. Which appliance embodies your personality? Some of you are going to be air fryers. Some of you guys are going to be blenders.
Is that air fryer because they're full of hot air?
Probably. I've never used an air fryer before, but I've heard great things. Some of you are going to be crock pots because you're full of crock. And last one, if you were to be a background character in any TV show, which would you pick? Any Tom Cruise movie, so I could possibly...
She said TV show, fam.
Corey watches TV show. I know I'm going to be the feature in a Forensic Files, my car breaking down on the side of the road. I had to drive. I'm switching. The reason why I'm not at home right now, I'm switching out my cars to the antique 30-something-year-old Viper. I go to start it. Dead as a doornail.
If you started, I would have been more surprised.
I said to the little green car, which I can see right there. I gotta watch it. I said, "What are you gonna? What's gonna be your trick?" And it was like, "I got a few." So I'm gonna drive it around for the next couple of days, see if something else can break on it. And then if it breaks...
So back to the question at hand. There is a show, and I cannot remember, but I watched it, but it's these 2 brothers and they're demon hunters. And I can't remember if it's called...
Did you watch the K-pop Demon Slayer thing that's taking the world by storm?
No, but someone did an order for it, so it's very unfortunate because I have no idea what that means.
You love to binge Netflix, and I gave you my login.
Oh, yeah, no, don't log in because I've been watching.
You don't know what I'm going to do.
So Netflix doesn't let you share accounts anymore, but I don't know how I've been able to log into Heather's Netflix, but I am in.
The reason why, if you haven't watched Unknown Number, I said, break all the rules. Break the terms of service. I need you to watch this. I gave her my login, even though I pay for it, and she's a cheap girl and does not. And she binged it now because I needed to talk. Did you talk about it on Saturday without me?
Did I watch it on Saturday?
Yeah, I texted it to you because Ashley had watched it before I left, and I wanted to talk.
I think we briefly touched onto it, but Mother had not watched it.
Oh, would you say that which one you're going to
I did talk about it at the orthodontist office to the lady.
Listen, I talked about it with a stranger, and she's like, I haven't seen it. I said, well, now I can't really say anything, so don't spoil it. But if you're listening, go watch Unknown Number. It's on Netflix. It's about an hour-long documentary. I like a documentary, but Corey likes short documentaries.
Preemptively, there are some text messages with cursing in there, so...
Don't watch it with your children.
Also, don't text your children. That stuff.
That would also be that you're going to end up in a documentary, and we will be watching it and talking about it on a podcast. Last part, she said, and she said, I am saying this to get an extra entry. I love how dedicated she
I
is.
feel so bad.
She says, the Vendy Blendy countdown on the Cookie College website is both stressing me out and exciting me. So Corey and I talked about the Vendy Blendy. I'm going to start getting vendors in. Again, chicken and the egg thing. I'm going to start working on vendors in September. We're going to start promoting it to you guys in October, and then we're going to pummel you and drown you in it in November.
We will need you guys to get more cookie cutter shops. A lot of shops have either closed down or taking breaks. Totally fine. Great for them to have, choose themselves over that. But we need more cookie cutters.
Corey always wants cookie cutter shops. So if you know of a shop and you can kind of like whisper sweet nothings to them, you could send them my way and I could be happy to talk to them. What I talk about, we have a cookie lab coming up called the Blind Baker Collab. Let me explain. Corey finds this to be a complex. It's just a collab where you're going to flood a white circle cookie. Do that with your eyes wide open. Let it dry. Put it in your Cabela's dehydrator. Then you're going to record yourself decorating that cookie with a pumpkin while you're blindfolded. The point of this, because usually typically these collabs have the side effect of marketing, is the video is the marketing. It's a Reels world. It's a vertical video world, and we're just living in it. A lot of us are too timid and we like to post up pictures because we said, what would we even record? Here is the excuse. So now you can say to your audience, this is going to be funny because I never do Reels. I never post videos, but this is a collab I'm a part of, and I'll help you with the copy for that. And I want to see how good of a baker I am when I can't see anything at all.
What this is doing marketing wise, instead of always selling at your customer or taking those really professional looking photos of cookies, we're putting you in front of the camera in video form. Video right now, let me tell you, is outperforming everything.
Here's what I tell you. Corey had accidentally come up with this kind of funny series. Our older sister is also in marketing, a completely different iteration. But she was like, hey, series work in terms of video. Why? Because we're nosy. I'm nosy. Hello. Yes. If there's a documentary about you doing something wrong, I will watch it. I will watch it a few times and tell my friends about it. So series are getting that nosiness and in video form where we want to hear the person with their inflections tell us about it. I don't have time to read all the time. I do have a ton of time to pipe some audio through my car and listen to it. So Corey had decided to do a taste test challenge regarding the aging of a cookie in a cello wrapped bag. Heat sealed bag. And then she accidentally, instead of doing 14 cookies, she accidentally bakes 25. Nobody knows why to this day. And then she tasted them each day. The concept is so weird. It's so simple, but it is the highest performing content in terms of videos because of all these things. And then she had her husband on it. She had my grandmother on it. She had her son on it. I think Ray, you had him on it.
What I want to say is while I love there is this on TikTok. It went super viral. It was Who the F Did I Marry? And it was a series of who this lady married and why she married him. So many people locked into it because they love to hear. They don't know this lady. They don't know her husband, but they wanted to hear this whole story. And this was a series. So a lot of times when you say part 1, part 2, part 3 of why blah, 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 those perform very well. So I was testing it outside of my normal one and done videos where I say, let's make a cute set. Oh, and I'm obsessed because everyone says I say that all the time. My takeaway is consistency. A lot of times I did not want to turn on the camera. Most every night, that was against my will. But then I said, I don't have to have my hair super done. I don't have to have a cute outfit on. It can be just in my cookie room. The lighting doesn't have to be perfect. And people were still there to watch it. So even though everything wasn't exactly perfect the way I wanted it, which a lot of us wait for the perfect timing and holds us back, just putting the content out there was worth it. And because I didn't have to take everything shower, blow dry my hair, find a new cute outfit.
I thought you did a good job. You were like, I just got out of the shower. And then you're like, my face is red because I was trying this treatment. And then you're like, I went to the gym. I was like, oh, girls, just putting it out. But you were very consistent. And I think it really did show. So this collab is actually September 26th. Corey's going to create a demo for me so you can kind of know what she's doing. But the point is, it's not about perfection. It's about putting yourself out there. That's the real goal here. And then we're giving you an excuse because you can tell your audience, I know I don't do this, but this is a collab. And then I think you're going to find good performance because I want to see what you decorate. I want to see what the pumpkin looks like. You try your best, but I think you're going to find that the more crazy this pumpkin looks, the better he is going to perform. But Corey will be creating a video demonstration for us of what that would look like so we can kind of know what to do. I think it's pretty simple. Just ice a white cookie. I don't care if he was already baked a while ago. We just want a white background so that pumpkin pops.
So what I'm planning to do, and just for this kind of video content, this example is I'm going to film myself with 2 different cameras so we can have 2 different aspects. So you can see what the piping looks like, but you can also see what my face looks like.
And if you say, well, girls, you just lost me there, I only have 1 camera, just record your hands. It is, and then just pick up your phone and hold it next to your face. It is not, don't overthink this one.
Yeah.
And if you hate it, you can archive it at the end of the collab and you are nobody is none the wiser and you still got the engagement on your page and we all had a good time. So September 26th is that one. If you want to sign up and register and get help with the copy, you can go to the events tab in the Sugar Cookie Marketing group. Sponsors. You wanted to talk about Baking Me Crazy. You just had me look up their website. Oh, I lost my camera. I'll go back to this one. I'll do this one.
Bake Me Crazy is online shop, but we actually delved in because I said, I need to order some things. And I asked Heather, look her up. Does she have Americolors on there? She does have Americolor and Color Mill. So if you don't know what the difference between the two, one's gel-based, one's water-based. So if you, not water-based, Color Mill is for chocolates. Gels are for royal icing and other things. And buttercream, I think, is the in-between. You can use it for both. But she has piping bags. She also has like sprinkles and things like that. Cello bags. I love shops like Baking Me Crazy because I can get all my necessities in one place without having to pay a ton of different shipping charges. So if I need cello bags, I'll always add that to cart just because I'll probably run out and need them anyways. But I can get like the colors I'm running out for Americolor while also getting some sprinkles for my holiday DIY kits.
Word on the street, she's back for the Vendy Blendy. But code favorite twin, singular, is 10% off. I've also heard that Heather also works.
It does not. Type that in and watch you not get 10% off. Type in Corey, you might get 50% off. I don't know.
Cookie Design Lab, I mentioned before, they're the sponsor of the STL Me About It segment. Graciously, thank you for doing that. And their code is TWINS to save 15% off. Royal Batch is also code TWINS to save 10% on her meringue powder that Corey really, 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 really likes. A lot of people who tried it said, wow, there is no big bubble issue and the icing bleed is kept to a minimum. Now, Corey's tweaked how she uses a meringue powder, and you posted that in the baking group.
I did. I posted that in the baking group. If you watched my 25-day challenge, people were wondering, what kind of icing do you use? It's royal icing, but if you want the exact recipe, I posted it in the baking group.
Daisy Makes is a cake pop maker. She is pretty fascinating. Her use of like 3D printing technology to ease the use of creating kind of a difficult product, cake pops, should be studied. But she is a sponsor as well. So if you are interested in cake pops, Corey swears this is a gateway drug to be able to get better at cake pops.
I want to say if you wanted to go to Cake Pop Con, registration opened yesterday for 2026.
Very nice. Now, speaking of con, I see a lot of these products are offering these conventions, which I love. I am all about that. Now, EddieCon, I was told to read this to you. We're still in early bird registration, so you can still save money. That will end, and I think it ends in this month. Let me just see. So just reading on the website, you can go to primera.com/EddieCon-early, and you can find that those discounted rates. Okay, that ends. Ooh, I'm so sorry. EddieCon discount ends tomorrow.
Yeah.
The early registration. The regular rate will go up by $100 after September 10th. So you get 2 full days of classes, and they're looking at the classes to be kind of petite on the 30 to 40 people side based off of their ticketing. So you guys can check that out. Very cool. Eddie is a very cool product. Corey likes it. Have you sold any Eddie prints lately?
I have one coming up next week, friend, next week.
You love it. And last but not least, not a sponsor, but definitely an affiliate, Bosch Nutrimil. You can use code SUGARCOOKIES at checkout. You save $20.
$20. Do you have a Twinterest for
us? A Twinterest, yeah. You know what's crazy? Do you know what pink tax is?
Not a clue.
Really?
Pink tax?
Yeah. It's a product that's sold to both men and women, but when sold to women, it's priced higher. So like various things, but specifically pink tax is very high on razors. Now, I've shaved my legs all the time, but like men are shaving their beard. So the technology in a man's razor is super high.
Yeah.
Because they need to get these close shaves. They want to shave this. They got whatever men's hairs do on their face. I'm sure I could attest with
I think it grows any which way.
And then you got to have a really close shave and you don't want it to break out. So a man's shaver actually has these really sharp blades. But here's one thing. You know, like when men shave above their upper lip, just like us women that we won't admit to, the top of a man's razor has a second precision blade. It's on the flip side of the razor. Okay. Yeah. But when you go and get your Venus by Gillette, it's tons and more expensive, but you only get 3 cheapy blades and it's surrounded by like some weird soap that makes it feel weird to shave, right? Okay. So someone on Reddit was like, end the pink tax, buy men's razors. It's super cheap to buy the replacements. So I bought the Henry brand you could get at Walmart or something. Yeah. And then you can buy like tons of these replacements because men go through shavers so quickly. In the shower the other day, I also got this really slick soap. I was like, wow, this is great. It's like something you got at Walmart or whatever. It made that I dropped that man's razor and I caught it with my forearm. Okay, you know, like when you cut yourself with a razor and you're always like, that's stinging. And I don't know where I cut myself, but it will reveal itself and it'll never, it was so bad. It's all over my wrist. I went from here to here, this wound. So much that I went to the McDonald's drive-thru and the checkout lady's like, I gotta know what happened to your wrist. And I said, I caught a man's razor That was my twin twist. However, will I still be using the men's razor? Yes. And if you're hearing this for the first time, this isn't about the gaping gash on my wrist. This is about the strategy of buying a man's razor and the replacement razors, the reusable razor. It's so much cheaper than a woman's razor.
I don't think I've ever bought a woman's razor. I only buy men.
Well, you avoided. No wonder I didn't know what the pink tax was. Never paid it a day or not.
My legs are smooth as smooth can be.
What's your twin twist?
My twin twist is, if anyone knows, Michael's craft stores used to have a connection and a brand partnership with places like Sweet Sugar Bell, the Sweet Tooth Fairy. But when Michael's opened, I think it's Celebrate Me or Celebrate It, that's their own brand. They said, get the other stuff out of here. We're only selling our stuff now. So someone on TikTok said, all that stuff, all the surplus, all the cookie cutters, the sprinkles went to a place called Ollie's. I had never been to an Ollie's before, but I found an Ollie's about an hour away, and it's where I go get my haircut. So I said, I'm going to go to whatever this Ollie's is. I'm going to be honest. It was the TJ Maxx of a Walmart.
Really?
It was every name brand thing you could want in a weird warehousey type of store.
Was it welcoming or did it feel sad?
Not welcoming at all. It was overly packed, but it had everything you could possibly want. So they had cat toys there. Cat toys, cat treats for a discounted price. They had cat shampoo for a discounted price, but they also had area rugs for a discounted price. But it was everything that was name brand, just a lot cheaper. And then there over the speakerphones, it said, good stuff, cheap, which is exactly what it was. They had cookbooks there, but I did find the Sweet Tooth Fairy and Sweet Sugar Bell cutters there. So there's this cutter set. I think it's got like 74 cutters in it. It was the standard flipping shapes for Sweet Sugar Bell. It's been around for, I want to say, a decade. But when you used to buy it from places like Michael's or online, it was like between $40 and $50 at Ollie's yesterday.
Okay. Bracing.
$2.99
For 75 cutters? That's insanity.
It was insane. So me and Heather, every time we go to a class, I tend to try to give a cutter away. And I usually buy them from like a year before. So if Michael's Christmas goes on clearance, I'll buy them there and then hold on to them for a year and then give them away that next class the next year. They had these snowflakes. You got 2 snowflakes for $1. So they're 50 cents each, full size snowflake cutters. So I got them for our Christmas class and then that one that we'll teach for the in-home.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, it's just a little, people asking, like, what do you guys give away in your gift bags? As cheap as possible to keep your margins. Yeah. But I'll say, every time somebody comes in, they're like, oh, we get a cutter today? Because they want to go home and try out this stuff.
They had sprinkles, like a big old bottle like this big for $1. $1.
What was the expiration date on
I didn't see, and you're right, the expiration date would have been good to see, and here's the thing.
Of course, just bought them.
With Ollie's, like TJ Maxx, you can't go in there wanting something. It's if they have it, they have it. If they don't, they don't.
It's got a one to you.
They had a bunch
You can't go to Ross with an agenda.
Yeah, they had a bunch of Halloween blow-up decor, though.
Oh, okay. Well, there's like 10 Ollie's in Virginia when I Googled it.
I think there's one in Manassas, too, which is closer. They had
it did.
Car stuff, like if you wanted car cleaning products.
Speaking my language.
I thought that cleaning products for your house was cheap. Snacks.
Like Windex was there?
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe you and I will have to go.
It was just, and they had like a ton of like canned fruit. But like the name brand
you
canned
said fruit?
Canned fruit.
Oh, canned fruit. They said hand fruit. And I was like, I thought they all go in your hand, but I'm about it.
You put it in your hand, you eat it. Hand fruit. Nothing was like that could expire. So there wasn't any bread or thing like that. No fresh fruit, no meats. But it was snacks were there. So it would be great if you like had a bunch of kids you needed to have snackies for. I think there was 2 of us inside the whole Ollie's.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was crazy.
Okay, guys, go out to your Ollie's. Are you going to post a video about it?
Yeah, I took a whole video so you could see what I found there that was baking related.
Oh, very good. Did you get cat treats?
I did not. I was running out of time.
On behalf of Rube,
they had
she's rude.
a cat scratcher thing, and I almost got that, but I was running out of time, so I said, let me just get these cutters and rowl, girl, rowl.
Your hair does look nice. Okay, how do you think the podcast went from the Zoom thing?
We'll
have to see
it went
great. If there's tapping, we're going to exile.
No, I didn't tap it. For some reason, when it's sitting at the table in your office, this little metal thing actually is the thing that taps, but it's lower on here, so it did not tap.
Very nice. Okay, we'll see how this goes. Next week, we'll be back to a regular filming area. where Corey will be tapping. So if you want to hear that tap dance, see us next week.
But if this works,
then I would love to create a forum where we could have bakers just be interviewed and we can talk shop. And I think that you guys really like having guest speakers, and I don't want you to have to fly all the time to go be interviewed. But I think we have actually one local baker that runs a supply shop, and she has asked to be on it. So we'll do one more in-person one.
well, we'll see. She's very busy, so it might be a Zoomy one.
Okay, I'll ask her about it. So anyways, that is it. Thank you for coming to the Baking It Down podcast remote edition. Bye.